All right, let's jump into the world of
Yes,
squirrels.
squirrels.
But not just any squirrels.
Right.
We're going deep with a 1977 research paper.
Okay.
It's all about the Paraxerus cepapi,
Mm.
a bush squirrel from South Africa.
Wow.
And these little guys, they have some serious secrets.
Oh, yeah. This paper reveals a surprisingly complex society.
Oh, really?
It's like a miniature soap opera playing out in the trees.
Okay, so what's the first thing that makes these bush squirrels different? Are
Well,
the ones that we might see, just out and about?
imagine this.
Yeah.
These bush squirrels, they don't live alone
Okay.
like many other tree squirrels.
Uh-huh.
They live in groups
Oh, wow.
of up to 12 individuals,
Okay.
often with multiple families sharing the same territory.
Multiple families all crammed together?
Yeah.
That just seems like a recipe for disaster.
Yeah.
How do they manage to avoid constant squabbles and power struggles?
Well, that's where it gets really interesting. This
Yeah.
paper suggests they've evolved a system of communication
Uh-huh.
and social behaviors that's way more intricate than we might give them credit for.
Wow.
And it all revolves around their territory.
You mean those tiny patches of land
Yes.
that they call home?
Exactly.
Because the paper mentioned that their territories are surprisingly small,
Yeah.
averaging just 0.43 hectares.
Exactly. And they guard those territories fiercely,
Really?
chasing away any intruders. What's even more surprising, they
Yeah.
kick out their own offspring after a few months.
Oh, wow. Talk about tough love.
Right.
It really highlights just how vital
Yeah.
that small territory is for their survival.
Yeah, absolutely.
So there must be something incredibly valuable within those territories.
Mm.
Is it a specific food source or prime nesting spots?
Yeah.
What are they fighting so hard to protect?
While the paper doesn't pinpoint the exact reason,
Okay.
we can piece together some clues.
Okay.
They're meticulous about marking their territory boundaries, using a fascinating combination of scent marking techniques.
Scent marking techniques. We're talking mouth wiping,
Where?
anal dragging,
Okay.
even strategic urination.
Wait, they wipe their mouths on things to mark territory.
Yes.
That sounds unusual.
It is.
Yeah.
And it hints at a deeper level of communication.
Okay.
Think of it this way.
Yeah.
They're essentially writing messages in scent, telling other squirrels, this is my turf, stay away.
Really?
This scent language plays a huge role
Okay.
in recognizing group members
Yeah.
and maintaining those all-important boundaries.
So they have a whole communication system based on smell.
Yes.
I can't help but imagine them sniffing each other's trails like little detectives.
And they react very strongly to any unfamiliar scents,
Really?
which suggests that recognizing those scent markers
Yeah.
is crucial for avoiding conflict and maintaining order
Right.
within their group.
The paper also describes something called a trance wipe,
Right.
which sounds a bit eerie.
What's going on there?
It's this bizarre behavior where they seem to go into a trance-like state
Oh.
while sniffing and grooming,
Yeah.
then meticulously wipe their mouths on a very specific spot. Researchers speculate it's a kind of ritualized scent marking,
Oh.
maybe even a way to leave a specific message
Wow.
for other squirrels.
It makes you wonder what kind of message they're sending.
Right.
Are they declaring their dominance or maybe leaving a stay-out warning
Yeah.
for rivals?
Uh-huh.
It's incredible how much they can convey without uttering a single squeak.
And speaking of squeaks,
Yeah.
we can't forget about their vocalizations.
Right.
They have this whole range of calls,
Okay.
from high-pitched whistles
Yeah.
to clicks and rattles,
Huh.
each with its own distinct meaning.
Oh, yeah. The paper described a specific whistle they use
Right.
when they spot a predator,
Especially raptors.
especially raptors.
Yeah.
You'd think they'd be quiet and hide, but instead they sound the alarm for the whole group.
Exactly. It seems counterintuitive, right?
Yeah.
But it's actually a brilliant survival strategy.
Okay.
Think about it.
Yeah.
One squirrel yelling, "Danger," might get snatched up.
Right.
But a chorus of squirrels,
Yeah.
all making a ruckus, is much more likely to deter a predator.
It's like their version of a neighborhood watch,
Uh-huh.
except way more effective.
Right.
So this alarm system is all about protecting the group,
Yeah,
not just themselves.
precisely. And it shows a level of social cooperation that's pretty remarkable.
This whole scent marking and vocalization thing is just blowing my mind. It makes you realize There's so much more going on
Right.
in their tiny heads than we ever imagined.
Absolutely. And their social interactions go far beyond just communication.
Okay.
One thing that really stood out in the paper was their unique mating ritual.
Okay.
And let me tell you, it's a wild ride.
Oh, do tell, I'm all ears.
Well, when a female is ready to mate,
Okay.
she attracts males from her group and even neighboring territories by emitting a unique call,
Okay.
a sort of undulating alarm rattle.
So she's basically using the danger signal to attract potential mates.
It has a bold strategy.
It's a bold strategy.
Yeah.
What do the males do when they hear this siren call?
They come running, of course.
Of course.
But here's the twist.
Okay.
While chasing her, they make this soft, continuous murmuring sound.
Is that some kind of squirrel love song? Like a Barry White serenade?
It's probably more about keeping the peace than romance.
Oh, okay.
Researchers believe this murmuring might help appease any aggression,
Okay.
both between rival males and from the female herself.
Yeah.
After all, she's the one calling the shots here.
I see. So it's not just a free-for-all.
Right.
There's a certain etiquette involved.
Yes.
This whole chase can go on for hours, right?
It can.
Does the female eventually choose a mate?
She does, but it's not always the strongest or most aggressive male who wins. She seems to be carefully evaluating them. Perhaps looking for specific qualities or behaviors.
So it's not just brute force that matters.
Right.
She's making a choice based on more than just who can chase her the longest.
Exactly. There's a lot more nuance to their social interactions than meets the eye.
Wow.
And once those pups are born, well, let's just say they don't waste any time growing up.
Wait, so we're talking baby squirrels now.
Yes.
Tell me they're at least a little bit cuddly and helpless.
Not quite.
Oh.
Remember how we talked about those small territories and the fierce competition for resources?
Yeah.
Well, these pups hit the ground running.
Okay. Literally, I'm picturing tiny squirrels in tracksuits doing wind sprints.
Whoa.
But seriously, how fast are we talking?
Their eyes open after just a week.
A week?
They leave the nest at 19 days.
Wow.
And they're already munching on solid food.
Really?
By 3 weeks old.
Wow.
By 4 to 6 weeks, they're completely weaned and ready to face the world.
Wow, that is fast. Especially compared to other squirrel species.
Right.
Where the young are dependent for much longer.
Uh-huh.
Why such a speedy development?
That's a great question.
Yeah.
It might be linked to the pressures of their complex social structure.
Okay.
In a group where everyone is vying for resources and jockeying for position, being born ready to learn and adapt is a huge advantage.
It's like they're born with a crash course.
Right.
In how to survive Squirrel Society 101.
Yeah, exactly.
Already programmed into their tiny brains.
And that brings us to another fascinating aspect of their social lives.
Okay.
Grooming.
Grooming?
You might think it's just about keeping clean.
Yeah.
But for these squirrels, it's much more than that.
So we've got these super social squirrels.
Yes.
Who mark their territory with scent. They have a whole vocabulary of sounds.
Right.
And they raise their young at warp speed.
They do.
Where exactly are these little social butterflies hanging out?
Well, this particular study focused on a very specific habitat in South Africa.
Okay.
Near a place called Naboomspruit.
Naboomspruit.
Imagine dense thickets of trees and shrubs.
Okay.
Almost like a squirrel metropolis.
Sound like squirrel paradise.
Yeah.
But were there any particular features of this habitat?
Yes.
That were especially important for the squirrels?
Absolutely. The dominant tree species in this area was the tamboti tree.
Tamboti tree.
Which play a crucial role in their lives.
Okay.
Think of it as the heart of their community.
So what's so special about this tamboti tree?
Well,
is it like a giant squirrel buffet or something?
It's a bit of both, actually.
Okay.
The tamboti trees provide nesting holes,
right,
which are essential for raising those rapidly developing pups. And they're a major food source.
Okay.
Thanks to their nutritious nuts.
So securing a territory with plenty of tamboti trees.
Yes.
It's like winning the squirrel lottery.
It is.
But the paper also mentioned something about flooding.
Ah, yes.
Flooding.
You see, the tamboti trees often grow in floodplains.
Okay.
So during the rainy season, when the water rises, these trees become like islands of safety and resources.
Oh, wow. I hadn't thought of it that way.
Yeah.
Suddenly, those tiny territories make a lot more sense.
Yeah.
It's all about controlling.
Yeah.
Those prime tamboti tree real estate.
Exactly.
And speaking of food,
yes,
while the tamboti nuts are a staple, they also supplement their diet with leaves.
Right.
bark, and even termites.
Termites.
Fold-up termites.
Yes.
That's not exactly what I picture
Yeah.
when I think of tree squirrels.
Sorry.
I thought they were all about nuts and seeds.
Well, remember, these squirrels are highly adaptable.
Right.
They've got to be resourceful to survive in such a competitive environment.
Right.
And let's face it, who can resist a tasty termite snack every now and then?
I guess you've got a point there.
Right.
It makes me wonder how the researchers figured all this out. Did they just sit in the trees with binoculars all day?
They did a lot of observation,
Okay.
but they used a variety of methods
Okay.
to get a complete picture of squirrel behavior.
Uh-huh.
They trapped and marked individuals to track their movements,
Okay.
observed them at their nest trees,
Right.
and even studied captive squirrels
Okay.
in a lab setting.
So the lab observations helped them
Yes.
to understand behaviors that would be tough to study in the wild.
Exactly.
Like, I can't imagine trying to observe a transwipe
Right.
in the middle of a dense forest.
And the researchers were incredibly thorough.
Yeah.
They recorded everything
Okay.
from the time squirrels emerged from their nests to how long they spent grooming.
Okay.
They even analyzed sound recordings of their vocalizations.
Want to talk about dedication?
Right.
It's amazing what scientists will do
Yeah.
in the name of research.
Yes.
But all that effort definitely paid off.
Uh-huh.
Think of all the fascinating details.
Yeah.
We've learned from this one paper.
Absolutely. And sometimes
Yeah.
it's the seemingly small details
Uh-huh.
that can lead to the biggest insights.
Okay.
For example,
Yeah.
the researchers noted that unlike some other tree squirrels, these bush squirrels don't build their own leaf nests in branches.
Okay.
They rely entirely
Yeah.
on those tree holes provided by the Tamboti trees.
Okay, so nesting sites are limited.
Right.
Does that factor into their territoriality?
It's very likely.
Because if there aren't enough good nesting spots to go around,
Uh-huh.
wouldn't that increase competition?
Yes.
And make them even more defensive of their patch of land?
Remember, we're talking about groups with multiple breeding pairs.
Right.
So securing a safe and spacious nesting spot is crucial for raising their pups.
Yeah.
It adds a whole new layer
Yeah.
to their social dynamics.
So it's not just about food
Uh-huh.
and avoiding predators.
Right.
It's also about access to those prime nesting sites.
Exactly.
And I bet all those social interactions we've been talking about,
Yeah.
the scent marking, the vocalizations, the grooming,
Right.
they all play a part
Yes.
in navigating those complex social hierarchies.
Exactly. It's this constant interplay
Yeah.
of cooperation and competition,
Right.
all aimed at ensuring the survival of both the individual and the group.
Wow.
And it's fascinating to think that all this was going on
Yeah.
right under our noses, or rather above our heads, for centuries before scientists started piecing it all together.
You know, it's pretty amazing how much information
Right.
we can glean from a scientific paper written almost 50 years ago.
Yeah,
It makes you wonder what we could learn
absolutely.
about these squirrels
Uh-huh.
with all the technology and research methods we have today.
Oh, absolutely. Imagine if we could track their movements with GPS collars,
Right.
analyze their DNA to understand family relationships,
Right.
or even use artificial intelligence to decipher the subtle variations in their vocalizations.
The possibilities are mind-boggling.
They are.
But even with the limitations of this 1977 study,
Yeah.
we've gained such a rich understanding of their lives.
And we've only just scratched the surface.
Right.
Who knows what other fascinating secrets are hiding within those dense thickets, just
Yeah.
waiting to be discovered.
Well, one thing that really stood out to me in the paper
Okay.
was how incredibly attuned to danger these squirrels seem to be.
Yes.
They were often the first to react to predators.
Right.
And that high-pitched whistle they use as an alarm
Yeah.
was highly effective at alerting the entire group.
It's like they have a sixth sense for danger,
Yeah.
and it makes sense,
Right.
given their small size,
Yeah.
and the fact that they spend a lot of time foraging out in the open,
Uh-huh.
where they're vulnerable to predators.
So they must be constantly on high alert.
Right.
Do you think their vigilance might even benefit other animals in their environment?
That's a very interesting point.
Like if they sound the alarm,
Yes.
wouldn't that also warn nearby birds or other small mammals?
It's quite possible that their alertness acts as an early warning system for other species sharing their habitat.
Wow.
It's a reminder of how interconnected everything is in an
Yeah.
ecosystem.
It's amazing to think that these little creatures,
Right.
who we might dismiss as just cute and fluffy,
Yeah.
could actually play a vital role in the survival of other species.
Exactly, and it highlights the importance of understanding and protecting biodiversity,
Right.
even the seemingly insignificant creatures,
Yeah,
because their loss
Right.
could have ripple effects throughout the entire ecosystem.
that's a powerful message,
It is.
and one that we should all take to heart.
Yeah.
We can't just focus on the big, charismatic animals.
Uh-huh.
Every species has a role to play.
Absolutely. And this deep dive
Yeah.
into the world of bush squirrels has really driven that point home for me.
You know, as we wrap up this deep dive
Yeah.
into the world of the Paraxerus cepapi,
Right.
it's incredible to think
Yeah.
that we've uncovered all of these amazing insights
Mm-hmm.
from a single research paper.
I agree. It's a testament to how much information can
Yeah.
be packed into these scientific studies
Right.
and how much we can learn
Right.
from even older research.
Yeah.
But it also makes you realize how much more there is to discover.
Exactly. This paper
Mhm.
focused on just one specific subspecies
Right.
in one particular location.
Mhm.
It's like we've zoomed in
Yes.
on one tiny corner of the bush squirrel world.
And that makes me wonder about all the other
Right.
bush squirrel species and subspecies out there.
Right.
Do they all exhibit these same
Yeah.
complex social behaviors?
Yeah. Do they have the same types of vocalizations
Right.
and scent marking strategies?
Are their territories and social structures similar?
Those are great questions.
Yeah.
For all we know,
Right.
there could be bush squirrel societies out there
Uh-huh.
that are even more intricate and fascinating
Yeah.
than the ones described in this paper.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Imagine a bush squirrel species
Yeah.
where the females have elaborate courtship displays.
Okay.
Or maybe a species that has developed a cooperative hunting strategy.
Wow.
The possibilities are truly endless.
It's almost like this one research paper
Right.
has opened a door to a whole universe of potential discoveries.
Exactly. And with all the technological advancements we have today,
Right.
from GPS tracking to DNA analysis,
Yeah.
imagine what we could learn
Yeah.
if we applied those tools to studying these squirrels.
Right.
We could unravel the mysteries of their family trees,
Yeah.
track their movements across vast landscapes,
Wow.
and maybe even decode the nuanced meanings
Right.
behind their vocalizations.
The more we learn about these creatures,
Uh-huh.
the more we realize just how complex and intelligent they are. It's a humbling reminder that we humans aren't the only ones
Yeah.
with rich social lives and sophisticated ways of communicating.
And it goes beyond just the bush squirrels.
Yeah.
It
Yeah.
speaks to the incredible diversity and adaptability of
Mhm.
life on Earth.
Right.
There are countless species out there
Yeah.
with their own unique strategies for survival communication and social interaction.
It makes you appreciate the sheer wonder of the natural world
It does.
and how much we still have to learn.
I completely agree.
Yeah.
Every species has its own story to tell.
Mm-hmm.
And each discovery chips away at our anthropocentric view of the world,
Right.
revealing the interconnectedness of all living things.
Well said.
Uh-huh.
So for our listeners who are now feeling inspired
Yeah.
to delve deeper into the world of bush squirrels,
Right.
what would you recommend? Where should they go to learn more?
There's a wealth of information out there.
Okay.
Start by searching for more recent research
Okay.
on bush squirrels.
Yeah?
You can find scientific papers online, explore natural history museums,
Right.
and even join online forums or communities dedicated to wildlife observation.
And don't forget to look around your own neighborhood.
Right?
You might be surprised at the squirrel activity
Yeah.
happening right in your own backyard.
Uh-huh.
Observe their behaviors. Listen to their calls.
Right.
And you'll start to appreciate the hidden complexities of their lives.
Exactly. Keep that curiosity alive.
Right.
And never stop questioning, exploring, and learning about the world around you.
Well, on that note, I think it's time to wrap up this fascinating deep dive
Okay.
into the world of bush squirrels.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for joining me on this journey of discovery.
It's been my pleasure.
And to our listeners, thank you for tuning in.
Yes.
We'll be back soon with another deep dive
Okay.
into a new and intriguing topic. Until then, stay curious.